And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Simple Easy Marketing Podcast. I know we've been on a break for like 7 days, it seems. Because we had this thing in Texas called weather. Weather. All right, yeah. So it was cold, it was freezing, there was no electric, there was no heat. We dealt with it for a couple of days here in Texas, in the North Texas area. I know some of my friends, even down through Central and South Texas, went through the same thing where we had rolling blackouts. We didn't have an awful lot of things we could do. If we didn't have a fireplace or a grill to cook on or gas stove to cook on, we were kind of eating cold cuts and bread. And it was an interesting couple of days here. And because of that, we did not have a podcast for the last 7 days because it took a while to get things back up and running here in Texas. So anyway, today I want to welcome you to episode 62 of the Simple Easy Marketing Podcast. My name is Tim Gillette, and I host this podcast every week to talk about simple, easy ideas to actually fix your world. All right, correct your business, and breaking it down to something that was just so simple that we mostly forgot it. And today I want to talk about the fact that 7 days of, dealing with, actually it was 4 days, and we actually got everything up and going again on Thursday and stuff. But about 4 days of dealing with no electric, problems with internet, problems with cell phone service, all right, water freezing up. All of these things happened down here in Texas because of the world. And I want to talk about today, episode 62, about the perfect world. The perfect world. We all want to live in a perfect world, right? And we all think that we can make the world perfect. Because of the fact that we want it to be perfect, we cannot deal with the fact that we actually have to deal with setbacks. Setbacks sometimes we got to do with a day or two without power. Sometimes we actually try to fix a problem. And in fixing a problem, sometimes while fixing it, we create more problems and we don't realize it. I always love the term when someone says, that's not very Christian. Well, let's define Christian. First of all, I'm Christian, grew up in the Christian faith, all right, went to a Baptist Protestant type church most of my life. My wife went to Presbyterian churches most of her life. And we grew up with what we were around and most people would call the Christian place. Well, what is a Christian? Well, if you were a Christian, you would understand the actual basics of being a Christian. Usually come down to the fact that we realize that we are sinners, that we ain't perfect, that we can't do it on our own. So we put our faith in a higher being. We believe that being to be God and Jesus to get us through the things we can't do, to solve the crisis of the sin or failures that we fall short on. So the very being of the word Christian means I can't do this. I fail from time to time. I have failed. That is the very definition of Christian. So when you look at the people and say, well, why that's not Christian, you are actually trying to put them in a place where you think they are perfect. Guess what? They're not. I can tell you from personal beings that those people who are criticizing one person or another in our world are looking at the imperfections of others. All right? And trying to compare them to the perfection they think they should follow. It's almost like, hey, I want to compare myself to so-and-so. Well, it's not a fair comparison. It never is. Because a fair comparison would actually compare apples to apples, not apples to oranges. In a world where you are actually trying to compare someone to a perfect status you have put them to, they are going to fail every time. So when you put your minister from your church on a pedestal, guess what? He is going to fail you. Your mom or your dad, they're going to fail you. Your kids, they're going to fail you. The business leader or mentor that you put all of your faith in is going to fail you. Why? Because we are not perfect. If we had a perfect world, we would not need people out there creating products and services to actually make the world better. If we lived in a perfect world, we wouldn't need that. The very idea of living in an imperfect world means that we are going to work today to create a solution. And yes, that solution is going to create other problems, other things that need to be solved. That is the actual world that makes us being in business uniquely perfect. You know, there was one time I actually had this gentleman that someone I rented a house from in my very, very younger years, and he said, the only thing I ever found in the world that's perfect is a perfect asshole. And I always used to think that comment and think it was very, very funny. But he made you think about something. The most perfect thing we have is imperfection. The one thing that we can count on is change. You see, no matter where you're putting your faith in, all right, let's make it simple and easy, all right? If we didn't live in an imperfect world, you wouldn't have a job. Think about that. You wouldn't have a job. You wouldn't have work to do. You see, because all of our work is helping to create an imperfection in the world. And yes, our imperfection in the world actually creates we create a way to try to perfect it, and we create another imperfection. It's almost like the drug. Have you watched the drug advertisements on TV? The lists of side effects. You know, we're trying to fix a problem, but in order to fix this problem, you may have this, and this. It's part of the game. There is going to be no perfect solution for the rest of your life. And I know you think you want the perfect solution, and you're working very hard in your world to create the perfect solution. Well, the perfect solution comes, all right, when you solve one problem at a time. Very simple, very easy. And then if you can actually work to create and solve another problem, great. And if along the way you realize that the problem solution you came up with, all right, created another imperfection, well, then you go back to the drawing table and you try to recreate it and try to fix it so it makes it to take away the second imperfection. But the point is you've got to always be improving. That's what makes business business. The fact that we are imperfect is what keeps churches open. Is the fact that we get hungry every day is what keeps a grocery store in business. And it keeps some farmers creating food. It's the world that is imperfect, all right, that is actually working together to actually make it work. So, when I see someone cut down someone's imperfection, oh my God, he made a mistake. I'm pretty sure you made one or two today too. Remember that. We all make mistakes. We all deal with things that are imperfect. So, what would be a way to actually get around imperfection in our world? To actually create a perfect world? Is there a way to do it? Now, I know many of you are going to sit back and go, well, back in my day. You know, I love it here in Texas. Over the past week, I've actually heard a thing, well, where I come from. Something to think about as you go through your day. How to deal with an imperfect world when you're trying to be perfect. First of all, accept that you live in an imperfect world. And that very person that you put on the pedestal, all right, is not perfect. Your mom, your dad, your congressman, your president, your president-elect, all right, your brother, your sister, no matter who it is imperfect. Accept it. Accept imperfection, all right? Number 2, look for a problem to solve and try to work on solving it. Look for a problem to solve and start solving it. Again, you've already accepted the fact that we live in an imperfect world. So you know that in an imperfect world, there are going to be problems, all right, which require solutions. Seek a problem and start solving it. When you start solving that problem little by little, you're going to actually start creating a better world. And as that problem solving that you come up with creates another problem, work on solving that one too. And try to combine it and make a better product or service. So you know you live in a perfect world. You know you got to solve problems. Number 3, forgive those who've screwed up. I don't care what their screw up is. All right, forgive them. And that doesn't mean they don't need to, if they've committed a crime, they don't need to pay for their crime. Yes, they need to pay for their crime. Yes, if they've done something to hurt another human being, there are certain things we shouldn't do. All right. And when people do it, yes, we need to forgive them, but they still must pay for the crime. You know, I've always loved this because my mom used to say this when I was a kid: be sure your sin will find you out. And what she was saying by that, and letting us understand that very concept in our world is, you may commit a crime. You may create a sin. Guess what? We're all sinners, by the way. And understand that there's going to come a way that you're going to have to pay for that. Now, I know everyone of us want to hide it. We all want to fix the problem. When we screw up, great. When you screw up, own up to it and get up and fix it. But forgive others. Doesn't mean they get a free out, but forgive them. Forgive them doesn't mean forget. Forgive means you letting go. So we realize the world's imperfect. We need to solve problems. All right. Forgive those people who aren't perfect. All right. Give. Number 4, give. Here's what we have is a world right now of people out there trying to force people to do what they want them to do. You see, I love living in a capitalistic society. And yes, I love capitalism. I swear by capitalism. Why? Because it is the free market. All right. And the market determines, all right, it creates its demands, and all right, and it takes people to give the supply to fulfill the demands. As opposed to a world where a government actually fills the demands and creates the supply all at the same time. I love being in a free enterprise system where we actually can sit there in a world and go, oh, whoa, wow, there's a problem in the world. Let me get up and solve it. I live in the United States, and I don't think the president's job is to solve my problems. Solve every problem. He is not my savior. He is someone who's helped guide the direction of the country, not the savior of the world. Neither is my governor or the mayor of my city. I love the capitalist society because capitalism actually helps you go out there and actually create and solve problems. You should be giving in the very fact that you are actually doing something to solve a problem. Number 1, you should be giving there. But number 2, where else are you giving? In the past month, you know what I mean? I read the obituary from a man from a church that I went to when I grew up. His name was Ken Balmer. Ken Balmer was one of the most giving people in our church. He also was one of the most wealthiest people in our church. He spent a majority of his life giving and giving and giving and giving and giving and giving and giving. He gave to the things that he felt were needed in the world. And when you become a giving person, you can become a wealthy person. No, I'm not saying if you give, you're going to get money, 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 money. No, I'm saying when you give, all right, you become a wealthy person because you actually realize that you are solving problems in an imperfect world. That's giving. Number 4 was giving. Number 5 on today's little get back is you got to be learning something new. You got to find ways to improve it. Always be looking for ways to improve. One of the greatest things I did, and I actually seen it, and it came out. Hold on, let me throw that out there. Came out this weekend at an event I was speaking at. All right, and actually, one of the people who actually was listening in the audience was someone who used to actually give me a couch to crash on. When I was broke and homeless, this man said, "Hey, yeah, you can stay on my couch." And now he's in the audience of places I'm speaking at because I didn't stay on that couch. I was determined that I was not going to stay there. One of the things I found while staying on his couch, on his coffee table in the middle of his freaking tiny living room, was this book. And it changed my life by reading it. It's called The Game of the Life and How to Play It. All right. Go find it on Amazon. All right. Because I don't have an affiliate code to give it to you. But I'm telling you, it changed my life. Some of you, while looking to improve, will find things that will improve your life when you least suspect it. I love it. I had Dr. Emily on my show last week, and she talked about the idea that, when the student is ready to learn, a teacher will appear. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you are actually out there trying to find ways to improve, the teachers will appear. Even I am trying to learn something new. And trust me, there are days that it works twice as hard to learn something new as it did 20 years ago. But I keep moving forward. You know that quote in Rocky where he says, life's going to hit you hard and it's going to knock you down. But you got to keep moving forward. That's the success in life, is when life hits you, you keep moving forward, even if it's a little step at a time. So we live in an imperfect world. You've got to accept it. All right. You got to work on solving a problem. You need to actually forgive people. You need to be giving. You need to always be learning. I hope you take this today and you actually make these changes and apply your life to make a wild and improved world that you live in. I'll be back tomorrow with another episode. This is Tim Gillette with the Simple Easy Marketing Podcast. All right, I want to say thanks to those people who helped make this podcast possible. Number one, thank you to StreamYard for giving us the tool to actually broadcast this on. Thank you for Anchor.fm for giving us a tool to put it out on. Thank you to the many tools we use, Facebook, YouTube, all of those things. Thank you to our events. Simple Easy Events is our biggest thing, and Simple Easy Events is where we help you create simple, easy processes to market your business online. SimpleEasyEvents.com. You can actually go there and get a membership. $20 gets you in membership for life. Yeah, one-time membership fee for life. And we're going to show you about giving, because we're going to give 50% of that membership automatically to our charity of the month. Go to SimpleEasyEvents.com. All right. We got another event coming up real soon. And, you should attend it. You should find out who we're about, what we do, how we help. All right. Come in, learn something. All right. And then you come back and teach it. Anyway, I'm Tim Gillette. This is the Simple Easy Marketing Podcast. I'll be back tomorrow with another episode. Until then, have a great